How will you see me? What will you think? Life in an instant, quick as you blink. Slide up and sideways, digital highways, leading you through the filter I choose.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rob's Inner Circle, broadcasting live on my personal Facebook page, on the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, and on the Rob's Inner Circle Twitch account. Thank you to everyone for tuning in to what is going to be an absolutely amazing show. We have two absolutely talented and interesting guests for you tonight. The usual shout out goes out to my good friend and producer of Rob's Inner Circle, Jenny Duhane. And the other shout out as well to our podcast techie, Patty Saragosa. Making the news, we had a guest on our show not long ago, the youngster Jean-Gilles Gadouri, who stole everybody's hearts when he came on to our show. So he is going to be, Jean-Gilles Gadouri is going to be emceeing and performing in a secondaire en spectacle at the Jean-Jacques Bertrand High School in Farnham, Quebec, and that's going to be taking place on Friday, March 26th at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 each, including taxes, and you can get your tickets at the address that is flashing at the bottom of your screen right now. A reminder that we have our merch store up and running, and you can go in our merch store to get our collectible items, such as Rob's Inner Circles items, and also our web series Daily Struggles. So all you have to do is just go on to 514branding.com. That's 514brandingco.com. I'm sorry, the address that's here right at the bottom, and you can go get our merchandisable items. They're quality items at affordable prices. We wanted to tell you as well, we urge you to go onto the Bobby Short Shorts YouTube channel, click onto our playlists, and you can check out all of our previous podcasts on our playlists. And also, we have our amazing series, Daily Struggles. We have also another playlist with that, and you can go check out all of our previous productions, upcoming productions as well. And we urge you to give us some comments, some likes. You want to share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because every time there's a new production coming up, you will be the first to know. Well, guys, it's that time once again. It's time to slip into our weekly ritual. This is a time to take that deep breath, let out all the steam, relax, sit back on your chair, and enjoy the show. Guys, it's that time once again. It's showtime. Let's get it on. It's time to bring on our guests. There's going to be our first guest coming on, and our second guest is going to be coming on just a little later, but I'll introduce both of them at the same time. Coming to you live from the Tampa Bay area in Florida, here they are, S. Roy Saringo and Katie Combs. Hang on a sec. Something happened technical. There you go.
Here I am.
Hi, Roy. Thanks so much for being on our show.
Thank you for having us, Rob.
Such a pleasure. Roy, I had a chance to watch your movie, Filtered. And like I was telling you before we came on, I admitted to you that I have my favorite genres of movies like science fiction or drama, suspense, and all that. I wasn't particularly a fan of musicals, but you know what? You and Katie stole my heart. I am now an fan of musicals. Good,
Nice.
good stuff. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you so much.
So, Roy, how have you been keeping busy these days with all the COVID going on?
Oh man. By trade, I'm a videographer and editor, so I will still continue to do corporate videos, promotions. Right now, it's kind of a wedding season in Florida, so I've been doing a lot of wedding videos. Yeah, just it's still video related, and that's basically what I've been doing. I shot a short film this weekend, and I've been editing all day. That's so. Anytime I can add that into my schedule, I will. But it's exhausting.
Hey, Roy, look at this. Already the fans tuning in. They're already excited. Esther's Breeze, she wants to know where she can see the film filtered.
So right now, you're not able to watch it or stream it anywhere because we've submitted it to a few film festivals. So we're writing the film festival circuit right now. We got into one local and one pretty big one that we can't announce just yet, but the local one is called Sunscreen Film Festival in St. Pete. The other one, which should make their announcements by the end of the month, that one I'm excited to, and hopefully we can get a distributor and get this streaming out. But yeah.
Well, you know what? I wish it upon you so much because you and Katie both deserve it, and also your amazing cast, absolutely delightful. I just hooked up with the cast. I love them all. Great stuff. Congratulations to you both. I was privileged to actually see what many people would love to see.
Yo, yeah, you are, huh?
So, Roy, tell me. You're a director. How did this all start off for you that you became a director?
So one quick thing, I look way younger than I actually am. But in 94, when I was in high school, so that should give you a range of my age, 94, man, it was a big deal for all these studio movies. I know Forrest Gump was up for an Oscar, and I grew up falling in love watching movies, but then I saw this one independent movie that it not only affected like my personal view on filmmaking and made me want to be a filmmaker, but it actually changed the geography of filmmaking in general, and it was Pulp Fiction. So when I watched Pulp Fiction for the first time, man, I didn't know that you can tell stories like that, because most of the things that were coming out of Hollywood were pretty much cookie cutter 3-act structures that are pretty sequential. So it goes from beginning to end without really making all these Pulp Fiction out of order sequences. And so when I saw Pulp Fiction, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen, because my brain works that way. And I know novels and books tend to tell stories that way as well. So when I saw it visually on film, man, like it just changed everything for me. I was like, I have a medium that I can do and tell in a manner where my brain understands. Like it's the natural way my brain goes. Like even when we dream at night, it's not sequential. It's not like we have the same dream beginning to end, but it's, it's broken up. And so,
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay, so when you went to watch the play filtered, you were actually sitting there, and it's like you were like flabbergasted, like you just couldn't believe what you were watching, and you kept asking, "Is this for real? Is this for real?" How much is that? How much of a huge impression did this play make on you?
First of all, the reason I was flabbergasted and asking I wasn't asking those questions to everybody. That was kind of like internal thing. But when I was invited to watch a workshop, so I didn't even initially see a performance of it. They were still workshopping filtered for just a select few people. And, I don't know if we're going to go back in how deep we're going to go into my backstory with Filtered, but it wasn't sold to me properly, because it was the way a friend told me about it was, you got to meet Katie. She's local. She's from Tampa Bay, and she writes her own music, and she writes her own plays, and she works with kids. So the kids, it's a kids musical at a local, small town venue, and that's not how you get me to get excited about watching anything, because I'm going, why do I got to watch this? Like, why do I have to go? Other than, paying my respects to my friend because they were excited. Their kids are Katie's students and a part of this. So it was a little bit of obligation, a little bit of just, twisting my my arm to go. And so when I went to see it, I was like, why are these kids why are they good? Why is the music good? Why is the story compelling? Why are they in harmony? Right? Why isn't it cringy? Because, you watch kids like plays at school, and you have a few of them that don't know their lines, or a few of them that are getting stage fright. And if it's a musical component to it, or if there's dancing to it, probably half of the kids don't know what they're doing. And so when I watch Katie's productions, that's where the confusion set in, when I was just like, I was really asking myself and asking my friends, I'm like, who is this Katie, and why? what's magical about her? Because she's doing something right.
So after you watched this play, you met Katie, and you said, "Hey, Katie, you down for some coffee?" So you hit it off, and you went to talk a little. So, yes. And then you were talking about planning on how to get this film together, because you already had some ideas, right?
Yeah. So initially, the initial encounter was for a different stage play. Katie did her own rendition of Peter Rabbit. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Peter Rabbit, but it's a kids musical called Carrots that they actually brought to New York on Broadway for something, to rave reviews, obviously, because, like I said, Katie's magical. And when I saw it, it was all middle school, or I don't know what the equivalent in Quebec is, but it's right before high school age, around 10 to 13-year-olds, like 8, 9, 10, 12, 11, 12, 13, around that age group. And it was the same thing. It was confusing, as in, why are they good? Why are they in harmony? Why do they know their lines? Why just why? I was at a loss for words, and that's when I asked Katie for coffee, and so the project that we ended up collaborating on was filtered from that coffee conversation. So she invited me to see the workshop, and that was when I saw it, and I was same deal. I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but.
So through that coffee, you realize that you have a lot in common with Katie, and then you said, this is going to work out quite well. So you had a couple of ideas going on, but then a few weeks later, you actually attended one of her workshops.
Yes.
And so that took you to a new level.
Yeah. So that was the filtered workshop.
Okay. So that was a filtered workshop. And from that, things actually, started building up and all that.
Yes. So after the workshop, that's when I approached her directly after the second workshop. So I had to watch it twice.
Okay.
The first one, I was invited to just purely to watch it. And then the second one, I wasn't necessarily invited to. I kind of invited myself. I was like, can I watch this again? Second night of the workshop, I went and I was kind of dissecting it. So I was paying attention to what was on the stage, but in my brain, I was going, I could shoot that at a bedroom, at a classroom. I could do that with this. And I started already like piecing it all together in my head. And when I saw what I saw, I approached Katie after the second workshop and I said, can we make this into a feature film?
Wow.
And she was like, you know what? I've been talking to some friends who have said the same thing. Why don't you make this into a film? So she was like, let's do it.
And so it worked out. It worked out very well, as a matter of fact. I watched the film, and there's one thing I noticed. Your editing techniques are totally amazing. And I told you before we came on the air that I am totally inspired. My way of filming right now, my way of thinking may have changed a little bit. Of course, it's not applicable to every kind of production you make, but there is, I have a few films in my head and I can actually see that filming technique. And what I'm relating to is that you actually got the students, you got the best out of them by telling them that it was going to be a rehearsal instead of an actual take.
Yes.
Tell us how you went about that.
Well, because we don't have trained professional actors on it. These were Katie students, and there were more stage acting. So a lot of big movements and big expressions. We would rehearse, and when we would do a take, they would start acting. So they would be in an actor mode going, like, this is how I should do this. So before I would do that, I started realizing that when we rehearsed it, they would let their guard down. They wouldn't think that we were taping. So they were more natural, and they would just play the scene the way it was. And I would give a little bit of directions, and Katie would do the same thing. And they would just be natural with the lines. And so I started realizing that, if I press record and they don't know, I can actually get a good take and take I want.
But
yeah.
That is totally amazing. And I realized that you saved about half the time that it would have taken, because, when you say this is an actual take, like you said, and especially if the actors are a little more inexperienced, what happens is that they're going to start like thinking and overthinking, and then you blunder. They have to have like a take 4 up to take 15, take 16. But by doing that, you saved a lot of time.
Yes. For instance, there was this hallway scene where we would have a bunch of kids go from their number 1 mark to their number 2 mark. And I would tell them, all right, get to your 1s. And then when I say action, go to your 2s. So I would yell action, and they would walk the way they think they should walk to their number 2 spots. And Katie and I were like, why are they walking that way? Because they're acting like they're walking. I was like, you don't need to act like you're walking, just walk. So when I would go, all right, cut, go back to 1, and then they would just act normal. They would walk back to 1 normally. And that's the take I took, and I never cut.
Wow, that's totally amazing. And just a reminder to the audience, Katie Combs, the writer, the screenwriter of this movie, is going to be joining us a little later on. And Roy, I just wanted to show the audience the amazing job that you did with the editing in that black and white format of yours.
Oh, yeah.
And the harmonies in this song are just absolutely beautiful. So, folks, you're in for a treat. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to Rob's Inner Circle. Our guests tonight are S. Roy Saringo, film director and screenwriter Katie Combs.
To start a revolution, to rise against the
Wow, that is totally beautiful. The harmonies are absolutely fantastic. And look at that. We have a question for you right here, right now.
So I'm reading that,
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
I'm gonna let Katie answer that question.
Oh, so Katie has just joined us. Okay, we're gonna bring her on. Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the screenwriter of Filter, Katie Combs. Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Nice to see you. Nice to have you on. Congratulations on an amazing film.
Thank you. Thanks.
So nice to have you on, and you came on just in time because our producer Jenny has a question for you.
All right.
And the question is the following over here: did the actors? I'm gonna something happened. Okay, here we go. He came back. Did the actors find it difficult to get involved in the feelings of the scene as a collective when the climax of the film hit? And was there special prep for that scene?
There's a couple. So the scene, are you talking about the shooting? There was a school shooter lockdown that was probably the most intense one.
The scene actually, the scene that we just showed there, you know, when you were doing the maestro.
Gotcha. Well, we had done the stage show, so they sort of knew the context, and they're just solid. They're just solid. So we did a lot of prep work in talking about what the concepts mean and what the lyrics mean to them, and they're just really good performers. And so I think they know how to turn it on and cue into that. So.
And how about the scene of the shooting? Did they find that difficult?
That was an interesting one because we had some of the kids that had done it before and some that hadn't. And we had lyrics taped up for them to read into. And so we kind of set the scene and told them what was going on. And then I think, Roy, feel free to chime in, but they kind of fed off each other's energy. So one would sort of get emotional and start to tear up, and then it would affect the group. And so it was really strange. It felt very, very real in the moment. Like they really experienced it. And it helped that we were in the school and in the setting that it would be in, and they really just dove right in.
It also helped that they were reading the piece of paper that had the lyrics, because then their eyes were focused in one spot, and it made it just look like they were nervous. The way you kind of like stare off into space, you're just like this, and it just added to the scene. So,
wow! And what amazes me is this is a feature film. It lasts an hour and 53 minutes. And you had zero budget to do this film and so many constraints. This is mind-boggling. So with a zero budget and you having done all this is just like, wow. So explain to us how you were able to make this come together.
Lots of favors.
With no budget, yeah. There you go.
We borrowed, we had volunteers, we borrowed houses, and there's a school that I direct some shows at, and they were extremely gracious giving us the school and letting us shoot there. And then it's in my kitchen and my friend's house and somebody's backyard, and Roy got very creative with the front of this house, but the inside of that one. So it was great. But
it's totally amazing. And oh yeah, by the way, remember I asked you that you met one of our good friends here in Montreal, film producer Patricia Chica. How is it that you know her?
Through the executive producer, Grace Santos.
Okay.
Grace introduced us to Patricia, who's helping us out with Filtered.
Oh, excellent.
Like very much so. So.
And remember, I told you I had a hunch she would probably be on. I am confirming. She has tuned into the broadcast. Yes. Hi, Patricia. Oh, that's amazing. So, Roy, you went through some major obstacles. You had a lot of hurdles. You had your computer, and all of a sudden you're filming in 6K. And now you have a huge amount of footage, because 6K, for the people who are not familiar with that takes a lot of room on a computer. So your computer is underperforming and you had a lot of problems. What happened exactly?
So historically, I've been working on an old 2011 MacBook MacBook. I don't even know if it was a MacBook Pro. So when we started Filtered, I started editing on that, but that crashed right away. It just couldn't handle all the data and all the information that I was trying to feed it, and it couldn't handle the workload of 6K footage, and it was raw footage, and so that crashed. I had to borrow an iMac that was a little bit faster, but not by much. And so that didn't crash, but that just gave up on me as far as like helping me out, editing fast. So it would take, hours just to render. So like I would edit one piece of clip and slide something like a frame, and it would take an hour just to render that for me to be able to preview it. And so after the iMac was done, Katie and I agreed I needed a brand new laptop. Like I needed a top of the line that can handle it with all the specs. So I bought the most expensive MacBook Pro, and it was brand new, just released. When I got it, it was actually it wasn't working. It wasn't working properly. Not because I did anything to it, but because I got it that way. And so I talked to Apple, and I was like, what can we do to fix this? How can I make this better? And it's like, well, if you really want to handle all the workload of what you need to get it customized. I was like, fine. How much is that going to cost? Let me know. I'll pay for it. He's like, okay, so you can pay for it. We can order it, but it's going to come from China because they do all the customization there, and it's going to take a month turnaround to get to you. And Katie and I were like, do we have a month? And so there was a time where there was just nothing happening with Filtered because of the bottleneck that technology was giving us. So finally I got the customized MacBook Pro, and haven't had a problem since, but that might be changing soon because I'm shooting more short films. And
wow. Okay, so Katie, talk to us a little bit about your background. Are you a singer? Because the way you were guiding that group of their playing the role of the maestro, you certainly seem to know what you're doing. So do you have a background in singing? Any special talents? Like
I have a background in acting and singing, and I have a background in voice science. So I teach singers. So I'm also a voice teacher. So I teach kids all the way through. I have a lot of adult clients, and we do science of the voice, and we work through. I have a lot of adults that I'll rehab injuries for, that kind of thing. So, and a lot of the students are also my voice students. So that helps because I know how to write for them when I'm writing, if I'm writing something specific. I also know where the voice should sit for certain types of songs. So that the voice background definitely helps.
So you wrote the entire music for the film.
Yes, it was originally a stage show, and I'm not sure what you guys already talked about, so stop me if I'm repeating. But it was originally a stage show, and I think it had a few other songs in it and a little bit different. But the stage show had 10 kids only and chairs. That was it. And
wow.
It was scripted, very close, and then and music. And it was very pared down, simple. A lot of the lighting was even just from the phones, lighting up their faces. Those were some of the lighting effects. But yeah, and so I wrote the music for that. And then Joe Cosas, he wasn't here, but he took the stems, which are like the single lines, and he redid them with live instruments. And then those made their way into the film.
And so what happens is, again, this is stuff we all encounter as directors, producers, when we don't have any budget. But it's amazing how we become so creative and assume roles that normally we thought we can't assume. It's like all of a sudden, if we take Roy, he's a cinematographer, he's a director, he's operating the camera, he's doing sound, he's doing lighting, everything. So in terms of production, what were the biggest obstacles you encountered?
Definitely on my end would be audio.
Oh, yeah?
Because since I was wearing all these hats, cinematography, directing, camera work, I knew we didn't have the budget to hire an audio production mixer. So I was just using lavaliers and shotgun mics, and I wasn't really giving it that much attention on set. So I knew going into it that we'd have to ADR a significant chunk in post-production, which we actually did. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on my end, it was more, I would say scheduling was a bit of a nightmare because we had volunteers plus locations, and we're dealing with young people. You're not just dealing with the kid, you're dealing with the family and the family schedule. So trying to get everybody on the hours that we needed them, because we only had 3 hours to film at this place, and he had to catch it, and he had everybody show up on time. So that was super tricky.
Wow. And you also had some challenges because most of the parents were very collaborative, but you said that there was an instance that it didn't always work out the way you wanted it. So what happened in some cases, Katie?
Well, we did have one situation where they had their kid involved and then changed their mind. They changed their mind about them being involved, so they didn't want us to use their child. So it was fine. He was able to edit it down, but it was really tricky because when you cut a child out of the frame, sometimes you lose the others in that frame. So that was sticky. But other than that little thing, the parents were fantastic and super supportive. So it was great. But yeah, that was a little scary because it was after COVID had hit. And so we couldn't reshoot anything. So all the scenes, we had to figure out how to navigate around one actor.
And you were saying what happened is that some of the actors moved on to college, and then it was kind of difficult to work around that. So how did you manage to work around that, with the fact that these actors were not available anymore?
A lot of that was Roy managed to use what we had. So we filmed, I would say, Roy, pretty quick. And when we were done, that was what we got. He had to work with those edits. So there are times that the reaction from one wasn't exactly when we filmed it from that time. It was kind of cool to see it all come together, but it was tricky. And with teenagers, they change. They cut their hair, they dye their hair, they get extra piercings. And because they were volunteers, we couldn't exactly say, hey, you can't change anything and you need to be available. So we kind of had to just work around them. But they were great. Like I said, they were great kids and really gave us what we wanted, but we didn't have the option of going back. But COVID would have prevented that anyway. So.
Well, it's amazing how creative everybody has become during COVID. Like, for instance, all these podcasts are popping up, and there's so many constraints that everybody just finds a way to get things done, and it's totally amazing. And I'm just I tip my hat off to you, both of you. Congratulations. Seriously, I am really impressed with your work.
Thank you. One of my best friends is an invention called YouTube.
Oh, and who is he? Introduce me to him.
Literally, we had to learn on the spot. Even with the ADR, we didn't come in knowing what to do. Actually, we knew we needed to do ADR before Florida went on lockdown, but we initially had friends who had a studio for that. Give us their time and their space to do it there. The lockdown happened, and we're like, now that we can't go to a studio, how do we do this? So I was researching on YouTube how to ADR on your own, and then we went to Katie's house and had these kids socially distanced with the mask and all that. But it was a challenging time.
Wow.
Some of the audio is the kids speaking into their phones and sending voice memos, which, considering the content of the film, is kind of cool if you think about it, because we use the technology to make a movie about technology. But it was interesting to play with all those little sound bites. But yeah, the audio was a nightmare.
It's just so creative. I'm just so flabbergasted, like you were, Roy, when it's just amazing what we can do when we have our backs to the wall. Let's talk a little bit about your childhood. So let's say start off with Katie. Katie, when you were growing up as a child, was there any indication that you might end up somehow being in performing arts, film, theater, singing, what have you?
No. I sang as a kid. My mom did our church children's choir. I was in a trio. We did make a couple of albums when I was little, and I think I did like a little TV show and stuff. But then I was in high school. I was in cheerleading, and I also did. I was in a chambers group, like a singing group. But I didn't plan on going on to do that. I kind of laughed that everything I'm doing now is kind of accidental. I was singing with a women's group, and someone had offered us a recording contract, and we all had kids at the time. I had 3 kids, and it just wasn't a good time to travel. But I tried writing us a song, and it was my first experience with songwriting, and I fell madly in love with it because I'm a lyricist at heart, and I love words. And so I sort of got into that not knowing what I was doing, and it sort of snowballed from there. I don't think I ever would have seen myself doing a film, and so that was, at least being on the writing, directing side, acting would make sense. But and then when Roy said, I'd like to make your show into a film, I was like, sure, what? Sure, what's that going to be? And then I knew the first day it didn't end up being used because we got a new camera, but I'll never forget, I knew there was magic going on because there's a scene where a boy has a gun. It's very intense. And the kid's the sweetest thing ever. You would never see him that way. And I look and I see Roy pointing down at the ground. And I was like, what is he doing? And I realized he's catching his shadow. And I was like, okay, this is an artist. And it was just it was very exciting to see someone it's exciting to see someone look at your work and think I could do art with it. And it was neat for those reasons. But I never in a million years thought I would be doing this.
Can I make a confession? Well, it's not necessarily a confession, but I do these things not really understanding what I'm doing. Like, so if a shot looks good to me, I just do the shot as to my liking. And then Katie will watch the footage back and he's like, oh, that's so interesting that you would do that, because subliminally you would you grab this from it. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I just thought it was a good shot. And
Wow.
And so we would constantly
get all these meanings of why he did what he did, and he just liked it.
Yeah, I'm like, there is no meaning. I just thought it was a good shot composition.
So, Roy, how about going back to your childhood? Were there any indications that you might end up doing this one day?
Yes. I never wanted to do anything else. I didn't know until watching Pulp Fiction, that I wanted to do this as a career. But growing up, man, my brain would always, if I listened to music, I'd always come up with my own music video in my head. And watching movies, I would always envision my take on certain scenes, right? So if I watch anything from Spielberg or from, George Lucas, I would re-see those scenes the way I would do it. But like I said, it wasn't until Pulp Fiction that I wanted to make it a career. But I knew I was going to do something creative in visual arts.
Okay, I would like to touch a little bit at the subject of the film, because there's some themes in there. There's the obsessive use of social media. There's bullying. There's the invasion of privacy. So talk to us a little bit about, what inspired you to put all these elements into this film? Either Katie or Roy.
Oh, that's Katie.
Take it away. That's Katie. All right, Katie, it's all yours.
I would say the kids. I have 3 kids of my own. 2 are adults, 20 and a 21-year-old, 27-year-old, and a 16-year-old. And just the difference in their experiences just with those 10, 15 years apart has been significant. And when I started writing for this particular group of students, I had a high school, college age group, and they would just share their stories, and I found them so unusual and strange, and they found them so normal. And I think that was the first thing that struck me. I thought, if somebody were to watch this, they would think this was weird, but you guys think it's normal. And so I started doing research on brain chemicals and what was happening to the mind chemically. And I know a lot of them, not just my kids, but teenagers in general, these days struggle with anxiety, and they're on medication and ADHD. And it started to make more sense when I really looked at the combination of what the chemicals do to the body and what you register as connection in the brain and physically. And so that's sort of how it started. And then I just started talking to them. And I sort of set out ahead of time. I wasn't going to do anything that didn't really happen, that they hadn't really experienced. And so many of their experiences were the same. And I expected to see certain things. I expected struggles with their sexuality. I expected bullying. I expected a lot of those things. And I was surprised to find that most of what they were struggling with was loneliness and isolation and a feeling that they weren't connected to others. And I found that really unusual. And so it was hard because it's easy to write about like a school shooter shooting up a school, like it's very dramatic and but I started thinking about what is it like to be in a lockdown? What does that do to the mind of a teenager when nothing happens but they're in a lockdown? And so I would say the students really guided a lot of the content.
Katie, we discussed that we have some special guests that are going to be joining us on the show. Are they ready to come on?
Let me text.
Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to go on and ask Roy a question. Roy, you were part of the U.S. Navy for a few years. How did that shape up your life?
It started with discipline because I really didn't have any. So having been, quote unquote, forced to do things a certain way and not my way and complete task was very challenging to a slacker, because that's what I was throughout like elementary and high school. I was just a slacker that daydreamed all the time and would constantly think of movies and and so having to be ordered, having to be give attention to details really helped my endeavors now, especially in filmmaking, because when you're run and gun and you're doing everything on your own, you have to be your own team, right? And you have to constantly tell yourself to complete tasks, to pay attention to the details. Everything I learned from the Navy, I still carry on to this day. So that has helped a lot and has shaped me as a filmmaker. Not so much in the creativity, but in the discipline of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. That's one of my heroes. Hey, hello. Welcome to Rob's Inner Circle.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Hey, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bryce Noggle, and in the movie Filtered, I play Charter.
Okay. So how has this experience on this film changed your life?
It's definitely like broadened my view of things. Like it's helped me figure out what camera acting is like and like how to work with film. And it's been a really cool experience. I like the thing.
Did you have any prior experience to this? Obviously, in like on camera and film, this was new to you. But have you done a theater before, or have you taken a lot of singing? What is your background exactly?
Yes, I have been doing a lot of theater. She's my vocal coach. And yeah, I've been doing music and stuff for about 6 years.
And by the way, congratulations, Bryce. Your performance is absolutely phenomenal. I'm a fan.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Really, no, I'm very, very impressed the way the film came together and the message that came across. Bryce, tell us yourself. There are a few messages in this movie. Which of the messages it touches your heart the most? Is it the bullying? Is it the invasion of privacy? Is it the addiction to social media? Which of these themes here touches you the most?
I think that's a good question. A little bit of the invasion to privacy really like stuck with me, because it's like everything you do is on the internet, and like you hear that, but I don't think we ever really process it. And I think this movie helps process like what that really means.
So if there's a message that you would give youths out there, if through your experience of what you have experienced on the film and what you experience in everyday life, and I guess people as well, what is the message you would give to someone out there, to the people out there who are actually inflicting these things on others?
Think about your actions before you do it. It may seem funny, it may seem like cool, it may seem like a good idea, but think about the impact it could have on someone else and really think it out, because you don't know what that could do to someone mentally. It's horrible, and just try to really think about what you're doing.
And it's unfortunate because sometimes our actions, in the film, I saw that you have to find it funny, the actor that you're portraying. But then again, we see that your character is not really reflecting upon the damage that is being inflicted on this other person. And I think you portrayed this very well, Bryce. Like I said, hey, I'm a fan. Just let me know the next time you're on a movie. I want to tune in. I'm really impressed.
Thank you,
Robert. Can I interject something?
Yes, go ahead, by all means.
So this is a kudos to Bryce, but also like a kudos to Katie by default as well. So like having a stage musical background, most people in that arena go big with expressions, with hand movements, and they still do that on stage. So I was expecting to tone it down a lot on film, and I was ready, prepared to face that on set. But I was pleasantly surprised that was a very I don't know if the word's natural, but like we didn't have that with Bryce. So Bryce was very prepared as far as going intimate and slow, and that's by default, kudos to the way Katie teaches her students, really. Because I was surprised. I was like, these kids aren't gonna act very well on film, and then I was proven, wrong. These kids were amazing.
Terrific. Well, they were well coached. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's Katie's.
Hey, Katie, did you have another cast member that you wanted to bring on?
Yeah.
Bryce, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, thank you.
And I wish you the best of success in all of your endeavors. Hey, I'm a fan. Keep it up. Good job.
Thank you so much.
You send in the girls. They're gonna kill me. They're at rehearsal, so I'm just like.
Hey, this wasn't rehearsed, right? This is a bit, a style I'm developing. This is thanks to Roy. It's
so
like
I went for that. Yes.
It's out of the box.
Feel different. They may be like, you didn't tell me, but they're not like that. They're super chill, but they are a fantastic group. And it was funny because Bryce's character, when we were talking, they do sort of a bullying thing in the movie, but as the mother of two boys do stupid stuff without thinking.
Oh yeah.
It's important to me to show these are normal kids doing stupid stuff that kids do every day that does some real damage, but they're still good kids. Like it's not so black and white in their little world. So he did a great job.
I'm impressed. Someone else is coming on now.
So I have two girls. Come on.
Oh.
This is Jenna. Sorry, Jenna
plays. Hi, girls.
Guys.
Hi. Thanks for coming on to Rob's Inner Circle.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
Hey, so girls, let's start off with our. Depends what angle we're. Okay, the girl sitting right next to Katie. Can you introduce yourself and the character you played in the movie?
Yes. Hi, I'm Jenna Fowler, and I play Caroline.
And your buddy next door?
Hi, my name is Cadence Carvalho, and I play Jess.
And girls, I have to tell you, I watched the movie, and I think you two were absolutely amazing. Very, very good.
Oh,
thank
you so much.
So, girls, your perspective, okay? Let's start off with Jenna. Your perspective, how has this movie helped you grow as an actress, as a performer, as a theatrical performer, as a singer? In which way has this movie helped you grow?
Wow, a lot. Definitely as acting, I'd never really done on film or on camera acting before, so that was a harsh transition, but it ended up being really awesome. Katie taught me a lot, and Roy taught me so much, and it was really awesome to see that happen, and I feel like it helps me grow as an actor. It helped me kind of internalize my acting more and let it go through my face more than my body, which is unlike what I've done my whole life, which is musical theater. So And it was really cool to see the other side of what Roy was doing and how it all came together.
Terrific. And how about our other friend? How do you compare? Because obviously you have a training in theater, and now, like Roy was saying, all of a sudden you have to tone things down because in theater it's much more grandiose. We project the voice, much more expressive, and it's a big adaptation there. So, did you have a hard time adapting to going into film?
So I really have I feel that I'm always like with Katie, I feel like I have like the kind of like type where I'm like the kind of like out there and like kind of big and bright and stuff like that, because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm like this, but like I just feel like I have a very explosive personality.
She's a force.
Yeah. So like when Roy would give me directions when we were doing my scenes and stuff, he would be like, okay, do that again, but like 10 times less. Really good to understand, like they can still see the energy coming from my acting, even if I'm not doing it like that times 100.
Wow. So Jenna and Candace, okay, after having done this film over here, did this give you like a sudden, like an urge, you know what? Hey, I want to do some more filming here. You know, I haven't said my last word. Is that what you're looking at, doing a lot more films? Jenna?
For me, definitely, I want to go into film, but probably more on the other side of film. So like post-production has really fascinated me, and I've gotten to see Roy do it a little bit when I went in, and yeah, so hoping to do that in college and for a career, and maybe see what else happens too.
Yeah, I agree. So like I have always done theater and stuff, but when we were doing this movie, I was like understanding how to do like on-screen stuff and like on-camera acting. So yes, I would really love to continue doing on-camera stuff instead of doing like on-stage kind of acting and more of that. Like I'd like to do it on camera.
So in a perfect world, Jenna is going to be directing you one day, King. Is that it?
And I will say, like, just to their credit, they're only juniors in high school this year. And it was last year. What? How old? 15?
Yeah,
like,
we were like sophomores.
Yeah, so you're not talking about 22-year-olds playing 15-year-olds. Like, they were the real deal. And so I'm very pleased that they were able to be authentic. And
So what I loved about the project was that the teens in the movie were portrayed by teens in real life instead of like 30-year-olds playing teenagers. Like back in the 90210 days, where you had like 30-year-old Luke Perry pretending he's a 16-year-old surfer. Saved by the Bell was the same way.
well, even the show, I think, are that way.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So it's nice to have teenagers portray teenagers.
Girls, thank you so much for coming on. Listen, God bless you. Listen, I wish you the best of luck. And like I told Bryce, I'm a fan. So anytime you guys are shooting a movie, please let me know. I want to watch the movie.
Will do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Katie, did you have any other cast members you wanted to bring on? Now that we have about...
No, they're all at college, I think. They're all at college right now. And,
okay. Well, with the little time we have left in the show, we can go off and, just basically... so tell us, what does the future have in store for Katie, and what does the future have in store for Roy?
Katie, what's in your future?
I just want to be creative. I love stories. Of course, I loved working with Roy. That was a blast, and I'm sure we'll be doing more stuff. I love working with students. I love working with singers. I absolutely love writing, and film has really intrigued me. I've been doing some screenplay writing, which is a genre that I hadn't really done. I had done a ton of theater, so I've been kind of delving into that and playing with some of the screenwriting software, and that's been a blast. So I would just like to create more. And honestly, I think Roy and I both feel this way. It'd be great to do with the actual budget one day. That would be fun.
With crew.
Yes, with the crew.
That's fantastic. And how about you, Roy? What does the future have in store for you?
Well, I have a cup, and one of the things that's in my future is I'm going to win an Oscar one day, maybe in the next 2 years.
So, folks, Roy actually went to the Oscar store. Is that it? At the Oscars, you bought that cup from the Oscars, and you are looking at the cup and saying you're going to win an Oscar. You know what? I'm pretty good with predictions, Roy. You know what? You're going to win an Oscar one day. It's coming from Rob. You're going to win an Oscar. I'm telling you, you have this flair. It's amazing. As a person on production, you're unmatched. And Katie, wow, what talent you have.
Thank you.
Your storyline was
also just going back to like my relationship and my friendship with Katie. I think for the first time in my career, I found somebody in the same wavelength, thinks about the arts the same way, thinks about kids the same way. Even our fates are the same. Our visions are the same as far as like where we want to leave an imprint in the arts. And we worked well together. So like anything, I'm always trying to figure out what Katie wants to do next. So we'll have those conversations. Half of the things don't like haven't come to fruition, but like one of these days, one of these things will stick and we'll actually shoot another project together.
So, folks, you know what? I am so sad to have to tell you this, and this happens every week, and I can never get used to it. Our budget for time is over, so this is where we have to sign off and say goodbye to everybody. So, did you want to say anything to the audience as we sign off?
Yeah, I mean,
I'd like to say thank you to you. Thank you for having us and for letting the kids come on. That it's going to be a memory for them forever. These are all new experiences, but thank you.
And actually, Patricia Chica was the one that introduced us to Robert, so we want to thank Patricia as well.
And we want to thank Patricia for introducing you to us, because you two are absolutely amazing, and we are totally honored to have you on our show tonight. And you know what? There are great things coming to you. I'm a visionary, and I just know it. Just keep looking at your mug, Roy. And
we're riding the film festival circuit right now, so just hopes and we get distributors interested so that we can get this streaming into everybody's living room.
So
and the viewers to connect with us. We have Instagram. I'm not always good at plugging that stuff, but we would love to connect. And it's special to hear back what people are thinking.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So guys, listen, you're totally amazing. Thank you so much. And please let us know here at Rob's Inner Circle what's going on, because as you see at the beginning of the show, we're always giving a shout out to our previous guests. We love you all. We wish you. I wish I could have like 5 hours of podcasting. I mean, an hour is not enough, but hey, we understand, time constraints. So that's it. Maybe you can come on 5 other times, down the line. Who knows?
Yeah. Part 2.
There you go. So please do keep us informed with your progress, and we'd love to share that with our audience.
Awesome. Will do. And also, real quick, somebody asked if I'm Japanese. I'm actually Filipino-American.
Okay. All right. How about what is your Instagram, by the way?
It's filtered.
Is it
_movie?
Filtered _movie?
Yep.
Okay. So
and the big group, we post a lot of stuff. It's Bay Area Performing Arts and Casting. But it's on Facebook also, and it has a lot of filters.
Okay, so if you can run that one more time, please, for the audience, the Instagram. It's filtered
_movie.
Oh, that should be easy enough to remember. Roy, Katie, thank you so much. And listen, God bless you. And, to all your endeavors, best of luck. And please stay behind the stage. We're going to have our meet and greet with the production team, and who are eager to meet with you. So we're going to be with you in about 2-3 minutes.
Okay, thanks.
So thank you so much. So we'll be right back. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Those were our guests tonight, film producer, director, that is, S. Roy Saringo, and writer Katie Combs. What an amazing evening. Thank you to all for tuning in to this amazing evening. And stay tuned next week when we're going to have another great show, when we're going to be hosting Ali Mohammadi, and Sid Cooler. This is Robert D'Alessio bidding you farewell from Rob's Inner Circle. Stay healthy, God bless you, and we'll see you next week.